Welcome to the Warning Track Power Hour. I am Dr. Andrew Scaff, Dr. Michael Woodman, Esquire. On today's show, we'll be talking about the more recent Kansas City Royals struggles, even after the Jack Caglione promotion from AAA. We'll talk a little bit more about the NBA and NHL final situations. But we'll kick off today with one of our maybe favorite old topics into the NFL world and the Aaron Rodgers signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike, how excited are you to have Aaron Rodgers be one of your near neighbors, perhaps?
He's in my backyard now. I I don't know. The Steelers really needed, I think, a quarterback that was not Mason Rudolph to start for them, and they didn't draft.
Has been competent at times
He
as a
has been,
starter,
yeah,
and filling
when he's
in, right?
when he's not getting beaten with his own helmet by another player, uh,
That was a
and
long time
supporting
ago.
uh, a full-throated support for Donald Trump. He was at some recent rally for Trump where they presented him with a Steelers jersey without the rest of the team being there. It was just Mason Rudolph and I can't one other player. I can't remember which one it was. Uh,
Uh,
but yeah,
I had not heard about that. I'm sorry I brought that up, Mike. I rescind my support for his past performance.
yeah, this happened about a week ago. There was a
Hmm.
it was Mason Rudolph and Miles Killebrew joined Trump on stage at a steel workers rally in Pittsburgh, and there was a big backlash. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. Pennsylvania went for Trump, but Pittsburgh is one of the Democratic strongholds. It's not central Pennsylvania, so um, yeah. So anyway, Rogers politically is sort of also a doofus, so he'll fit right in, I guess, with the Steelers. And I don't know. I think the Steelers are going to be a better team with Rodgers than they would be with Rudolph, but I don't know if they're a good enough team
Oh, no doubt.
uh, to be like a real contender in the AFC. Um,
How about compared to who they had last season with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson? Where
I
does
don't know
Aaron
if
Rodgers rank with that?
he's at least on par with that. So I don't know if he's a step above or not. The Steelers were what were the Steelers uh, last year? They were
Well, they were a playoff team, right? Or were they just outside the playoffs?
uh, they were 10-7. They lost the wild card at the Ravens, so I guess they did make the
Yeah.
playoffs. So maybe they're good enough for that for that like third wild card spot, second wild card spot. Um, that was also they're fighting it out, I would guess. So they're not a top tier AFC team. The top tier, I guess, you would definitely say is the Ravens, Bills, and Chiefs in some order. Hopefully, the Chiefs on top. But those three, and then you have by default AFC South champion, um, and then three wild cards that are probably couple of them maybe last year for the AFC West when you had Denver and the Chargers, and
Right.
then it was Pittsburgh was the other one. That also includes, maybe Cincinnati's probably fighting for that spot. Miami probably as well.
Right.
I think Miami's gone downhill since the last couple of years. But the Steelers were actually looking to trade with Miami for another tight end. Did you hear about this? They were trying to get Jonnu Smith from Miami, even though they
Hmm.
have like five tight ends already. And yeah, it's strange. They
You think
want.
that's like a product, like maybe they think they're worried that Aaron Rodgers can't go downfield enough, that they need more sort of underneath options?
I don't know. Yes, now it says the Steelers are unlikely to trade for Jonnu Smith. This last week it says.
Maybe
Um,
that though is because they just throw stuff out, like proposals out there to see how the media reacts to it, and then they
Yeah, because they have like
like it.
Steelers have Pat Fryermuth. They also had that guy from Georgia, Washington, who was like a big prospect from a couple years ago. So they've got like two starting level tight ends almost. Now they want another one. Like it just seems like it's a little strange. And Johnny Smith's not a big blocking guy. He's a pass catcher, and he's not that great. So it's just a little bit weird that they were trying to um, go after
It's
him.
weirder to try to pick up an extra tight end, or do you think it's weirder to draft a first round tight end 2 years in a row, like the Raiders did
The
a few
Raiders
years?
did. Yeah, they got Michael Meyer at the end. Was it at the end of the first round, or maybe was he a second round pick, or was he a first round pick?
I think he I thought it was a first round pick, like a later first round
Late
pick,
first
something like
round.
that. But then they took another tight end
Brock
last.
Bowers, who was yeah,
Well, it was really good, but it's odd to draft the same position group 2 seasons in a row, isn't it?
yeah. Let's see when he was drafted. I'm gonna look him up. He was drafted in the second round, 35th pick overall. So three after the first round was over. So a
Year
high
and a half.
high pick
Yeah,
for tight end.
but
But
yeah, higher than tight ends, are typically going. You don't expect a lot of like first round tight end picks.
yeah, and Meyer was basically non-existent last year in the offense for the Raiders. Looking at his statistics, he
But
only
isn't
had
that because they drafted somebody else even higher?
probably. So it was a waste. Do you think you wanted to trade him? He's been injured a lot, I think. Um, but he only has 460 yards receiving in 2 years of playing time. Uh, so
Not
he's only played
terrible for 1 year, but 2 years, that's
yeah.
stretching
Um,
it out.
yeah. Uh, compare that to um, Noah Gray. I'll look up his stats as a kind of uh, similar player, maybe who's played for a few more years. Noah Gray had he only had 36 yards his rookie year. He had 299 yards his second year, 305 his third year, and 437 yards receiving last year. So he's gone up a little bit by a little bit by a little bit each year. But still, he's yeah. Um,
He's a second or third option
yeah, and he was a fifth round
tight end.
pick, I think. So maybe that seems to what Meyer's trajectory seems to be right now is something like that. A backup kind of tight end, maybe who could get a little better. But Bowers seems like he's the real deal. He was by far their best player on offense. So maybe it wasn't dumb for the Raiders to draft him, and maybe you just take Meyer as a sunk cost already. You don't want to keep you don't want to just you want to get the best player possible, and there was no quarterback really available that the Raiders could get, so Bowers was the pick. Um,
De facto next best guy to pick, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but the Raiders still have a quarterback issue. Um, um, who's going to be their starter this year?
Um, they picked somebody up, didn't they? Didn't they
Oh,
get
Geno Smith. They picked up Geno
Geno
Smith.
Smith, and then but then they still
He's
have
Aiden
the guy
O'Connell.
they drafted. Who was it? What's his name?
Well, they still have Aiden O'Connell. They drafted.
O'Connell. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess they had Gardner Minshew last year as well, with O'Connell.
Yeah.
Chiefs have Gardner Minshew as the backup. Uh, I've seen some places that say maybe the Chiefs will play Minshew a bit more than they played their other backups, but I think that assumes that the Chiefs will go out to large leads and blow teams out to allow for a backup quarterback to play. But the Chiefs play games so closely to the score, like they don't want to blow anybody out. That in some
Yeah.
ways that is a negative for keeping your own players healthy. You can't take your stars out of the game if you don't ever blow any teams out, and it just wears down. And maybe this is what happens with Mahomes, he plays every snap in every game, and then
Right.
every playoff game as well for his 6, 7 years as a starter, and that's a lot of wear and tear. So maybe the Chiefs need to start thinking of ending a game in the third quarter rather than waiting till the final whistle to end the game. As a, maybe it's not as satisfactory or satisfying in Andy Reid's mind. He likes the crisp, 3-point victory in a kneel down formation rather than a uh,
Right.
21-point victory uh, in which the other team has the ball at the end. I don't know. It's strange, but uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It could also be a Matt Nagy issue where the Chiefs can't score enough points to blow people out either. So
Probably. But
um,
what? Yeah. But getting back to the topic that we started a little while ago, anyway, with Aaron Rodgers. Do you think that the Steelers are prepared to defend a more statuesque quarterback? Last year they had pretty mobile quarterbacks. Won't that play a factor in how they are able to try to keep him upright?
well, I don't know how mobile. Well, I guess Russell Wilson is a few years younger still than Rodgers, so he's a bit more mobile. Justin Fields is certainly one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league. Justin Fields went to the Jets. They kind of switched places with Rodgers. It'll be interesting to see how he does with the Jets. Um, but I don't know. I don't. It's hard to, when you think of offensive lines, you don't really think of the Steelers, but they don't have. You don't think of them as having a terrible line either. Uh,
Right.
they don't traditionally have a big passing offense. They run the ball a lot. They play defense a lot, but you think of them as having a pretty good line, I think.
More for
So
like run offense, though, not necessarily for like defending a statue quarterback
yeah,
type player.
yeah. So the Steelers they ended up one they did end up getting DK Metcalf. They got rid of George Pickens, but they got another kind of diva receiver. Uh, and I think Metcalf is not known for his precise route running, which may be an issue for Rodgers. I'm not sure. Um,
He's a big target, though.
yeah, I'm looking at their Steelers depth chart here on ESPN. So they did also drafted Will Howard out of um, K-State slash Ohio State, and the fourth quarterback on the depth chart is Skylar Thompson, former so two K-State quarterbacks battling it out to be the third quarterback, and I guess Mason Rudolph he was Oklahoma State, so a lot of Big 12 uh,
Yeah.
action going on. Najee Harris is gone. Where'd Najee Harris end up? He is on the Chargers now. Okay, that'll be interesting. Um, but yeah, what's listed as the top three receivers are DK Metcalf, Robert Woods, and Calvin Austin. So that's kind of three. So Robert Woods and Austin are fairly old by this point, I think, aren't they? Or maybe I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
Wood's been in the league for quite a while.
Calvin Austin's
He's,
not that old. He was only 26. Robert Woods has been around forever, it seems like. Um,
wasn't he with the Rams for like at least 6 or 7 years, right?
several years for the Rams.
Yeah.
Uh, Robert Woods is 33 years old, so he's been around for at least 11 seasons or so. Um, a veteran. Uh, yeah, then they have Pat Fryermuth and Darnell Washington as the top two tight ends. Uh, their line, I think, is decent. I don't know. Broderick Jones is the left tackle. Troy Fautanu is the right tackle. So I don't know. I don't hear about them as being bad, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but anyway, you still think of the Steelers as a defensive first, kind of defense first team. under Mike Tomlin
Right.
usually. So
In a run game and
yeah, they still have TJ
limited
Watt
passing.
and Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith, Patrick Queen. Micah Fitzpatrick is also Joey Porter Jr. coming along as a quarterback. So they have a solid defense. Um, Good kicker, Chris Boswell. So maybe they can make noise as a potential playoff team, but I still don't think they're not a top tier team.
It still kind of keeps them basically right where they sort of already were.
Yeah, and Tomlin's not going to let them be too terrible, but maybe
Yeah.
they ceiling as well with Tomlin. I don't know if he won a Super Bowl. It's been many years now since he's won anything. But
Yeah, but and it always seems like they don't ever actually seem to get the personnel that you think that that you think that they even need from having seen how they performed in previous seasons. Like they don't seem to address the issues that are keeping them back. Like they like you mentioned, they're a very defensive centric team in a league that's gone like pure offense.
Mhm.
So it seems like they're reluctant to adapt to like the current NFL of a defensive stalwart holdout. So how are they going to compete with the rest of the league if they're still sticking in the old NFL ways, though, Mike?
Sometimes you zag when the other teams zig, I guess. That's uh
And they've been doing that for quite a while, but they
yeah.
sort of hang around, but they don't really make enough noise to make a deep run, though, do they?
No, not really. But speaking of deep runs, do we want to talk about the NHL and NBA playoffs? We're in the Stanley Cup Finals and the NBA Finals right now. Um, I think the maybe the most surprising, which of the two finals do you find more surprising? The current 2-1 lead that the Indiana Pacers have over Oklahoma City Thunder, or the now what is it's 2-1 lead right now of the Panthers.
Now
Over,
going to overtime in Game 4, Mike,
yeah, this is a big. Yeah, it's two
people
one.
scored
Yeah, Panthers up
leads.
2-1 going to overtime. They were up 3-0, but now it's tied 4-4. It was 4-3 Edmonton, then became 4-4.
About
So
30 seconds to go, I think, with got a Panthers had pulled their goalkeeper even, so it was an extra attacker when they had the game.
yeah, it's gonna be yeah. So that's really big. So if the Oilers win, it'll be 2-2 going back to Edmonton, and they'll be the continue. They'll retain their home ice advantage. If they lose, it'll be 3-1 Florida, which is it'll take a three straight wins by the Oilers to capture the Stanley Cup. So it's a really big game for much more important for the Oilers to win, I think, than it is for the Panthers to win, even if
Right.
they because it just becomes a best of three series if the Panthers
Not
lose.
every game's an elimination game.
Yeah, yeah, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we'd probably say the more surprising one is the heavy underdog Pacers taking a 2-1 series lead over the Thunder. What's been going well for Indiana? What's been going poorly for Oklahoma City? Why do we we I think we had predicted, at least I predicted the Thunder would win in five. Um, I thought, okay, they lost
They
the
can't.
first game.
They
Now the
already can't.
Thunder are going to, storm back, no pun intended, and take charge. But then they won the first game, won the next game, but then they lost again when the series went to Indiana. So Indiana has. Um, strong advantage. They have game four still in Indiana. So, if they win a home game, they're up 3-1, just like the Panthers would be up 3-1 if they won. So, um, yeah. So what do you think's going on in the minds of Oklahoma City and Indiana? Why are the Pacers doing so well, do you think? Or is it
Well,
or
I
is
think
it
really,
Thunder maybe choking, not thinking it's they're a young team, they're really good, but maybe they're expected to win. Is that heavy expectations weighing on the Thunder?
I mean, probably really it's just like the somewhat luck of a single shot falling at the end of game one that for Haliburton, Tyrese Haliburton, that one game one for Indiana. It's kind of the difference in the series, right? Because if that doesn't fall, then Oklahoma's up 2-1. Everybody's held their home game, so it would be more. It'd still look like Oklahoma City would have the advantage, but really, it's just that one shot is the difference in the series at this point. So I think I mean, it still could be a relatively short series, but it can't be as short as we thought it was because we thought it was going to be
Yeah.
maybe 5 games, possibly six, but more likely five. That was kind of like
Well,
we were talking
technically,
last
it still could be 5 games, but it would be 5 games for the
the
Pacers to
other way.
one. Yeah.
Because I think we had kind of agreed that like if it was gonna if Indiana was gonna to win, it would be almost for sure like a 7 game series. But if Oklahoma City wins, it would be
Quick.
maybe extremely short.
Yeah, that's what I
In
thought.
the NHL playoffs, we kind of expected a long series, and well, this is the fourth game of the series, and this is the third game that's gone to overtime. So I mean, they're
Yeah.
playing not just the series tight, but every game is tight too. So
Other than game three, which was a big
it's not
blowout
that
for,
long.
yeah, 6-1 or something, 6-0. I can't remember what the score
Right.
was.
Florida
Uh,
just got out early and just kept adding
yeah,
to it. Yeah, so not a pretty game for Edmonton.
no.
But they I mean they're accustomed to playing some of these like difficult series, right? They were down weren't they down 3-0 last year and forced game seven in
I
the
think
in the finals.
I think you're right.
So um, they've been in this position before where, being stuck having to win every game, stay alive, but they're in better position this year than they were last year already.
Mhm.
But yeah, winning this overtime game for us, like while we're following this sort of right now as we're recording our episode, uh, yeah, Edmonton's would much prefer to take this and keep the home field advantage. I think, right? Home ice advantage.
Yes. Yeah. I see. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with both these series. Maybe we'll even have an end to game four of the Stanley Cup Finals before we finish tonight.
But our
It'll
our, uh, our own Travis Kelsey apparently is in attendance at the
Yeah, with
game.
Taylor Swift. They're both there at the game. Um, I don't know which team they're rooting for. Travis Kelsey, I believe, is a Chicago Blackhawks fan, being from Cleveland. I don't know. They don't have a team, so I guess he's picked the Blackhawks as his team. I don't know what. I guess Taylor Swift would probably be a Flyers or something, most likely.
Okay. If she is a hockey fan, you would expect Flyers.
Yeah, she's a um, she's a fan of Gritty, the crazy Flyers mascot. Is he the best hockey mascot?
Play. I mean, who else do we even have here? I mean, how many hockey uh, mascots can you think of off the top of your head? I don't know. I don't know that I've got anything else just
Uh,
offhand.
there's the Penguin guy. I don't know. You have just like guys in suits. I'm sure there's a Panthers person. There's a Panthers. I don't know if there's an Oilers mascot. That's just a guy. But I know there's a Penguins. The Penguins have a penguin, I think. Um, I don't know who the Caps mascot is.
I don't recall really any hockey mascots, but with the exception of Grimmy for sure, though.
The Penguins
That's whatever.
mascot is named Iceberg, spelled Burgh, in the
Hmm.
Pittsburgh way, Iceberg.
It was
Um,
just like a block of ice. Is it a guy in an ice costume, or is it?
just in a regular penguin costume.
Oh, he said it's a penguin. Yes.
There was Penguin Pete, who was the Pittsburgh Penguins' first mascots mascot, but he was actually a real penguin. Uh,
They release him on the ice, like
he
do
Penguins
stuff.
fans even had special ice skates made for Pete. Uh, a skater from the University of Pittsburgh taught Pete at the arena how to ice skate. So Pete, there was a penguin Pete who was an ice skating penguin
It
uh,
seems unnecessary, Mike.
back in the
That's
60s, early 70s.
aren't they
Uh,
already equipped to get around on ice? So why do they already like
yeah,
handicapping this penguin to you know,
yeah.
ice skating penguin?
So now they have Iceberg. Um, there's a Sharky mascot. There's a Seattle Kraken mascot whose name is Bowie. There's Louie, the St. Louis Blues mascot, who is a blue-furred polar bear. I'm looking at the list of NHL mascots on the Wikipedia right now. So it's the Anaheim Ducks mascot, Wild Wing, Blades, the Boston Bruins mascot, Sabretooth, Sabres mascot. But yeah, basically all we know, all that anybody knows, I think, is Gritty.
Yeah.
As they, oh, UP maybe they know the Canadians mascot because he was also, wasn't he also the Expos
Yeah.
mascot? So I think he switched over to the Canadians
Hmm.
when the Expos left. Um,
Yeah.
but
Weird. That came up at trivia yesterday. UP did. It's one of
oh,
the trivia questions on Eats and Drink yesterday.
did you get it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. We just had to name what it was like a defunct sports team was like part of the question. It was like there were like three defunct team mascots, and they just named them, and they said what league they were from. So we figured out that
Oh,
UP was the Expos. So yeah.
nice. But yeah, now he is but yeah, Gritty, I think, is the most famous of the Philadelphia Flyers mascots. I don't. He's relatively new. He's only been around since 2018. Did you know
We're
that?
definitely
Gritty. It says Gritty was introduced in 2018. According to his official biography, he emerged after the construction at Wells Fargo Center, Flyers' home arena, disturbed his secret hideout.
of
Within,
course.
within the months following his debut, Gritty became an internet sensation and made appearances on several talk shows. Uh,
And that's what we're here for on the Warning Track Power Room is the mascot backstories that have been carefully crafted by teams. Yes.
Philadelphia residents embraced Gritty shortly after his debut as representing the city's rough and tumble character. Uh, the Philadelphia City Council passed a formal resolution in 2018 honoring Gritty, declaring that he honored the city's spirit and passion. So he's also been employed as a leftist icon, as activists identified the mascot's cheerful, unkempt, maniacal demeanor. Uh, and he appears on he's on a lot of protests against Donald Trump apparently. So uh, he's become a symbol of I guess left-wing activism.
It's what I assumed would happen from the beginning, Mike.
Yes. Yes, he's anyway. Speaking of mascots, should we move on to
I knew
Slugger
that's what you're gonna do.
Slugger's team, the Kansas City Royals, who are not doing so well. Slugger maybe is not as gritty, but he has been known to injure people. The famous hot dog gun incident of uh, a few years ago that was detached some lady's retina, apparently. Um,
It was like a multi-year lawsuit that yeah, it took quite some time to resolve.
yeah. So yeah, the Royals could use some more sluggers on their lineup. They lost tonight 1-0 to the Yankees. That was a much more competitive game than the previous two games where the Royals lost. I think it was 10-2 and 6-3. So they got swept by New York, and they lost 2 out of 3 to Chicago, the White Sox. Although the White Sox have been playing much better since Pope Leo the 14th has been in office. I think they had like a 311 winning percentage before Leo became Pope, and now they're above 500 since Leo has taken office. So maybe he has changed the fortunes of the White Sox, which is unfortunate for the Royals. I don't think there
Yeah.
is a um, leading religious official that's a Royals fan. Maybe at least no one with the cachet of the Pope, unless maybe the Dalai Lama comes along and starts
Comes out as a Royals fan.
comes out as a Royals fan. Yeah.
Do you have that on your bingo card, Mike?
The Pope is going to be a White Sox fan.
The Dalai Lama will be
Oh, the
like
Dalai Lama is going to be.
announce his Royals fandom.
Oh, yeah. Um, I don't.
I know we did not take an American becoming Pope on our betting lines. We
We
were
did
talking about
not.
that.
I'm. I don't think that the current Dalai Lama will be. Um, yeah. Yeah, I don't think he wasn't some. The Dalai Lama becomes the Dalai Lama much earlier in his life than the Pope does. Usually, the Pope had a long. He's been in the church, he's usually an older guy by the time he becomes Pope. The Dalai Lama is usually picked as a child, um,
Right.
so yeah, they probably don't have a lot of time for sports or other recreational activities. So yeah, I don't know if Tenzing
Probably
Gyatso.
not spending a lot of time like scouring the internet for international sports that aren't played anywhere near like the central areas of that particular religion, right?
Yes. I'm looking up. I'm looking up on the Dalai Lama's Wikipedia page. There's no mention of sports or any thing like that. So, uh,
They don't have a sports like crawl across the bottom of the Dalai Lama's official website.
oh, I can look at that maybe. Yeah. Um,
I assume it looks just like ESPN, but with Dalai Lama related articles instead of mostly sports.
yes. Yeah. If you look at the Pope's Wikipedia page, uh, of course he's got the White Sox fan, but even look at Pope Francis, he was the supporter of an Argentine club, San Lorenzo de Almagro. Uh, which is one of the big five of Argentine football, along with Independiente, River Plate, Boca Juniors, and Racing Club. So it looks like they almost got relegated this year though from the top division. Uh, but that team, actually, that team, San Lorenzo de Almagro, was actually started by a priest. Uh, because he saw Catholic priest in the neighborhood church saw a tram um, almost knocked down one of the boys while they were playing in the streets as a way to prevent more accidents. He offered the boys a, a chance to play in the church's backyard under the condition they go to mass on Sundays. So it was um, started by the church that team. So
Do you like the sort of club team origin of a lot of like professional sports teams from like other countries? We don't really have that sort of thing here, but yeah, a lot of like soccer clubs like originated as teams from small organizations, right?
yeah, yeah, and you have some football teams and stuff that did that too in American
Yeah,
football, like some of the old ones. But those mostly like the Green Bay Packers and stuff like that were.
originals from like 1870s or something though,
Or the
right?
Reds or something. Yeah, so, you get those old timey teams. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, they seem to have grown up organically rather like in the Major League Sports, they have expansion franchises and like, but it's also partly because any team that wants to can eventually work its way up into the top division in basically
When there are
every other
tiers.
country. So like, if you just started a team, you could just start a team right now, and
Yeah.
if you had money, you could pay enough players to build a little stadium. You could just say, I'm going to start Club X. We're going to start out in the lower divisions of football, soccer, whatever you want to call it, and then work your way up by just if you buy enough players, or if you find good enough coaching, you can work your way up in a few years to become the top. I don't know how many new teams are founded though. I don't know how hard it is, for example, to get like a team into the Football Association in England. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
you get your team to participate in the FA Cup, things like that.
Well, and have you followed the like the Welcome to Wrexham series that follows Ryan Reynolds and Bob McElhenney's?
I've heard about it, but I haven't watched it.
Yeah. Well, because they started it like the near bottom league, but they're a very old club team. Wrexham. But that they're only one league away from the Premier League now. Did you see that?
Oh no,
They've been like three straight promotion times.
hmm,
So they're now just like one league away from the Premier League.
nice.
But that series is worth watching though. It's pretty entertaining. But it kind of documents the um, those two guys buying this club during COVID and then developing it and putting money into it, building it to try to return it to former glory from 100
Yeah.
years ago, potentially. It's a pretty entertaining series, though. It's worth watching.
I'll check it out. I'm reading right now, trying to see how I can start my own English football team. Uh, it seems like that would be like mostly it seems like wealthy people just buy a team already that's kind of we'll have some Russian billionaire buy Chelsea, or some Middle Eastern oil tycoon buy some other team or whatever, or the NFL owners buy Manchester United. But yeah, I don't know how. It seems like it would be not that difficult to start a team from scratch, uh, if you could start from the bottom up and work your way that way. It's harder to get play. It seems like it's harder to get players to transfer or get traded in
Right.
the
Well, if they're good enough to be in a higher tier of league, they're going to do that. So you'd almost have to like convince a bunch of players to come together to like if they join the club, they can have like part of an ownership stake
mhm.
in the
Or
club from the beginning. If they
yeah.
can win together, then they can promote them, essentially themselves as they go.
Mhm.
It seems like that would be probably the easier way to do it, trying to find like a bunch of like random people that can play well enough to be competitive even at a low level of professional or semi-professional soccer. But
Yeah. Um,
would you like to see relegation in American sports?
I don't think it'll work. Maybe it'll work in MLS because soccer is so used to that. But
Yeah, but the league system isn't built for that. Like there's
no,
I mean, all of American sports, even the MLS, is built
you could
like
have.
a academy as a lower tier league that belongs to you. Like you couldn't if you're relegated, like your academy team could like in theory like be promoted above you. No, it's like that's never going to happen. Like they're not going to allow that to happen.
No, all they could really do is set up two divisions, and
Yeah, you'd have to have so many teams. Like they'd have to expand to like 40 plus team leagues to then split down to 20 team to like two 20 team leagues.
yeah.
would be the only way that you'd possibly see that, and I think a
And
major
nobody
league.
would go like you, and who would go to to the lower level games? You don't, not very many people because now you're suddenly you have a minor league team that was once a major league team. Like if the Royals were dropped to the minor leagues, how many, they would get like I don't know what Omaha gets in, attendance, 5,000 fans maybe a game.
The Royals would drop to something in that area.
Yeah.
Some teams already kind of do that though, like the A's and Rays
Yeah.
at times had like such terrible attendance that
Yeah.
they're down in that sort of gray area as being like relevant at all, even in their own local
Yeah. Well, there
like
aren't any minor league teams that are threatening to like have more attendance than major league teams though either. So I think it's a different culture. I don't think it'll work. It might work as it might work in soccer if, like you said, there are 40 MLS teams at some point. But I don't think the owners want that. I don't think if they were setting up leagues in Europe today, I don't think they would make a releg they would make relegation because if you're on top, you want to stay on top. So I think they would
yeah.
want to keep their status. Although in Europe, it's also though you don't have like in each country you don't have the population diversity that you do in the United States, where you have lots of big cities and each big city has a team. In England, you have fewer large cities because it's a smaller area, and you have like 8 London teams that are competing. You don't have, that many. You don't have, in some places you only have one team from Chicago, like the NBA, you only have the Bulls from Chicago. You don't have multiple teams. You only have the Bears. Um, New
Yeah.
York gets multiple teams, and Los Angeles sometimes gets multiple teams, but um,
Yeah.
other cities have had a hard time supporting uh, multiple organizations. But but there aren't any you know it's just a different world where you have in some ways you have the orbit of the capital city being so important, like in Paris or London, they can have a lion's share of the clubs even. Or like Manchester, even mid-sized cities have multiple teams that are fighting it out.
Like the entirety of the landmass of the UK is quite small. They have an
Yeah.
entire professional sports league that has enough fans to support, large draws for every game. You have to be kind of impressed with that, though, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
You
the
don't
U.S. like physically is an enormous country in comparison, and we
mhm.
still have teams that fans don't really go to, and we have way more population.
Yeah, it's a yeah, I think. Well, it's a some of the, stadiums are smaller mostly than the NFL stadiums, for example, but yeah, but also you don't have college sports in those
Right.
countries where like, in for football, you have many teams that get, if you include college teams that their weekly are getting over 80,000 people in their stadiums every week. Um, but a lot of them aren't NFL. It's not the NFL doesn't have a monopoly on those giant stadiums to
Yeah.
fill, or you have there's no equivalent to like NASCAR in Europe. You have Formula One, but that's not they don't have those at giant speedways in the way that
We're not franchises that
yeah,
each
and they're
team like
yeah,
hosts and
but
another team, and they play each
mhm.
other, and thousands of people show up for it.
Yeah, but it's like a road. They're also like road
It's a
courses and
touring
stuff. It's a little
event.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
if they don't have like the super speedways that they have in the United States,
Yeah.
for the most part.
Well, and I mean, they have what, like two different leagues that are fairly well attended, right? They've got I mean, like, top tier professional sports leagues. They've got soccer, and then they have basketball, I assume, to some
Yeah,
much lesser extent.
much less attended. I think.
There's they don't have like the sort of multiple top tier franchises, and Edmonton has just won Game Four with a overtime goal to tie up the series. Mike,
Who won? Oh, they
Edmonton
tied to Edmonton won.
won.
Good. We want
Yeah,
Edmonton, at least here at the Power, we want Edmonton to win just because they're from Canada and they're from an ice-oriented place that is not Miami, Florida. So,
not a warm weather city.
yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
So third overtime game of the series. It's like a Leon Draisaitl game winner.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you also have. Well, I guess there's the continental. You have the Russian or the European Hockey League as well. The Continental Hockey League.
Yeah, I
With um, the KHL. What do they call it? The KHL.
think so. Yeah.
Continental Hockey League. Um, with teams. Okay, so it has 20 teams in Russia, one team in Belarus, one in Kazakhstan, and one in China. I didn't know there was a Chinese team
Hmm.
in Beijing.
Do you think those are still mostly Russian players,
Yeah, I don't
or is
know.
it mostly Asian players then on that the Chinese team?
It's let's see. Look at the Red Star Kunlun. Uh, the roster. A lot of Americans, a lot of Canadians, a lot of Russians, international. A few Chinese. Although one of the Chinese nationals is Jake Chelios, who is, I think, Chris Chelios's son, who is a Chinese national now. He plays for the Chinese men's ice hockey team in the 2022 Winter Olympics under the name Jika Kaliausi. So anyway, so
All right.
I remember Chris Chelios as a player, uh,
Sure.
but um, but yeah, it seems like they're all none of the Chinese players are born in China that play on the Chinese team. They're all Canadian or American, it looks like. Uh, what
Interesting.
Brandon Yip is is the captain. Uh, he is Chinese Canadian,
Hmm.
and but they also have uh, Jeremy Smith as a uh, goalie. Uh, so anyway, yeah, Continental Hockey League has 23 teams.
Hmm. Probably no relegation then. 23.
Yeah, I don't think so. Uh, there's no, I guess I don't know if there's another European Hockey League. Um, like
What are the
the Czech League. Oh, there's like a Czech League.
I- there's a Czech league, right? Because Yager was playing
Yeah,
there even like maybe even this year.
the Czech Extraliga is called. Yeah, and there are yeah Sparta Praha, which is also the most well-known uh team. I think that's probably the one of the oldest hockey clubs in the world. Sparta Praha. And they have mostly Czech players, a few Finns, uh, a couple Canadians. So anyway, I don't know. We were talking about what were we talking about mascots at some point, then we got drifted off. Then we were talking about the
Tended
Royals.
to go talk about the Royals, but then we got sidetracked before we really got into that. So maybe it's because we don't want to talk about them because they are
They've
not
been
playing.
terrible. They've lost 5 out of 6. Oh, we were talking about the Pope. I think we talked about the Pope. Then
Yes,
the Dalai Lama,
maybe the Pope derailed the Royals.
and then stories of club origins, and then relegation and things like that. Yeah, okay, that's how we got there. Um,
Yes. So I don't know if you noticed though during the White Sox series, did you notice the 2023 Major League Baseball draft, the Kansas City Royals selection actually came back to a debate that we had, I believe, on draft day that year.
You mentioned
Because
the Royals drafted was it Blake Mitchell,
Mitchell, high school catcher,
who's the catcher.
instead of the presumed number one catching prospect, college standout athlete, Kyle Teal, was
Yes.
expected to go higher in the draft. Royals picked Mitchell, reached down to pick Mitchell, and I think the Red Sox ended up
Yeah,
picking
Kyle Teal
Teal
drafted him. Yeah. Yeah, the
around
Red Sox
15 or
drafted Kyle Teal
so. And then Kyle Teal is now in the major leagues
with the,
already, made his
with
major
the
league debut
Whites.
against the Royals with the White Sox after trade, I think, during this season or
Yeah.
later. So,
The White
yes,
Sox selected Jacob Gonzalez as their draft pick, a pick after Kyle Tier, and Jacob Gonzalez is still in the minor leagues. For
inconsistent.
so in some ways, it wasn't the White Sox who made the better pick. It was the White Sox that
No,
traded for the better
that's
pick.
not what my point was. My point was that the Royals are demonstrating how they're not really good at evaluating talent.
Well, you don't know, I guess.
Because if you have an offer between two players and you pick one, but one that you pick had better have a better long-term situation because you're going to be nitpicked on your choice then and ever after, depending on how it turns out.
Yeah.
And
So,
how it looks right now, it looks terrible. What
well,
else though?
you could say the same thing when the Chiefs selected Patrick Mahomes, and then the Deshaun Watson was taken 2 picks later by the Texans, and then in both of the rookie seasons, Deshaun Watson goes in and starts playing really, really well, and Mahomes hasn't even done anything.
Right,
Some people were thinking, oh, they picked the wrong quarterback, which for a variety of reasons has turned out to be incorrect prognostication. Because
right.
Mahomes has been the better quarterback and also the less troubled quarterback and um, uh,
Yeah,
less embarrassing for the franchise to have. But
yeah.
so maybe so that you can say, well, maybe conceivably that's what will happen with the Royals. Not that Kyle Teal will get involved in a a massage therapist scandal, but maybe just
I
because he
mean, we
makes
don't know that that's not going to happen, but
maybe, but he's just not going to make the
we
majors.
don't expect that to happen.
Yeah, well, Teal just made the majors faster. We don't know if he's going to be good or not. We don't know about Mitchell.
Pretty good in that series against the Royals. I think he had a near 500 batting average in the three-game series against Kansas City, hitting like in the middle of the lineup.
Yeah,
So, yeah, yes, but
yeah. He
that
was
seems
part of he
somewhat
was part of the
embarrassing.
Garrett Crochet trade. So the White Sox
That can't be a real name, Mike. I still say that's
Garrett
a Coast of
Crochet.
London name. That is made definitely.
So Chris Bread is and Garrett Crochet are the uh
They were traded for each other in that deal, right?
yeah, Stephen Toast.
Yes.
Yes. Chris Bread.
Bikini Fafoon, I think, was also part of that trade.
Bruce Forsyth.
Right?
Yes, we don't need to devolve too far down into the toast of London, but I'm actually going to be in London next week, so we're going to have to schedule our next. Uh, so we're a little bit late getting this week's Warning Truck Power Hour out, but we'll be a little early getting next week's out, so we'll make up for it. We'll have a special probably Wednesday release next week of the Warning Truck Power, unless you want to delay it until Thursday. Dr. Scaff, to give the listeners more times to rerun this episode over and over, since I know many of them like to listen to it 2 or 3 times to get all the information they can wring all the information out of this episode that they can, since it's always chock full of what we call this hard-hitting and hair-splitting analysis. But yeah, the Royals are down to 30 record is 34 and 35 now. They've lost 5 of 6. Seems like they're sort of just have no direction. Uh, both uh, Noah Cameron and Chris Bubich were both shelled by
Yeah.
the Yankees. Seth Lugo had a good start tonight. It was so maybe he's back, so that could help. Erceg came back and he pitched pretty well tonight, including a strikeout of Aaron Judge. So maybe the Royals are looking up,
He
but
ended up giving up the run that
yeah,
cost him the game, though, too, after a terrible play by himself, actually. He made a bad throw for like
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It was an unearned run, but it was really caused by his own buffoonery. But it was not his pitching that caused the problem. It was his fielding that caused the problem. And so usually we don't think about pitcher fielding as being the thing we have to worry about as much. So
And he was kind of trying to make a throw like on the run, like he was like sort of like heating home, like running home, and then making the throw like
yeah,
as he was running, which he does not do normally, right? So that's probably what threw him off. Usually he's standing relatively still when he throws.
yeah. It's been
He
a
should have just thrown as if he was throwing off the rubber, right? For
yeah. Sometimes the
the
pitchers can't do that very well. They don't like to let pitchers um, or pitchers don't like to make throws that are not. Sometimes they have tough trouble throwing to first base, throwing to
but
uh,
well, a lot of the underhand pitches,
yeah,
sort of even from like a long distance away, sometimes the
yeah,
preferred method.
yeah.
But some kind of bad news though, Mike. I don't know. Did you see that Cole Ragans is back on the injured list with
Yeah, Cole
a
Ragans back on the interest rotator cuff.
rotator cuff
That's
injury?
not good. Maybe that
Which,
explains some of his struggles this year, though.
he has not been um, anything close to what he was last season. So
No,
his
or the
ERA is
season
like
before.
five.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Well, hopefully the Royals turn things around. We'll hear from them next. We'll see what happens this weekend. Who are they playing this weekend?
They've got a series with the A's. Yeah, in Kansas City. So maybe
Maybe
a
they'll
chance to
to
bounce
get
back.
right. Yeah,
But they struggled with the White Sox, so there's no guarantee that they're going to bounce back.
the non-Sacramento A's. They're simply the A Athletics.
The Athletics. No city designation. Yeah, very odd, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think they should be allowed to have no city. Um,
Yeah, it seems like you
They
guys.
should still call themselves the Vegas A's if they want to be future Vegas A's.
The
Uh,
Vegas A's of Sacramento.
yeah,
Like the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim for a
Los
while.
Angeles Angels. Yeah, the Los Angeles Angels, which is of course the Angels in uh, English and Spanish.
Brilliant. Yes, that's fantastic. I think that all teams should be no, so knowingly or unknowingly, though. We don't have to know what they if they
You
intended
have to
that.
have a city that includes both a definite article and
Yes.
a mascot in it as its name. So like you could have the Las Cruces crosses or something like that.
Right.
I don't know
Yes.
how many the El Segundo second, something like that. But it's hard
Yes. That'd
or
be great. You could name that. I should do
Saint San Antonio Anthony, maybe something like that would be uh
that.
but that doesn't
Mike,
make sense.
why are we not in charge of a sports league? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
With ideas like this, I mean, it seems like somebody should just be giving us a league that we can just do what we will with, right?
Yes.
We will not disappoint.
Yes. Yes.
All
Uh,
the teams will have ridiculous names,
yes.
and they'll perform at least as well as any other team. It's fine.
Yeah, we start. Well, that's why we need to start our own English team to work its way up into the Premier League. Uh, you
There
know,
we go.
and we could get a gritty-esque mascot for.
That's how it starts.
I don't think the English soccer teams have mascots in the way that the American teams do. I think that could be a untapped market, especially a way to get kids to support one team over another. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, eventually, generationally, you'll end up with a stronger
yeah,
franchise down the road if you start with the youth.
yeah. So we need I think, a gritty style mascot.
Sounds like a plan. So we'll just go ahead and wrap this up into a nice financial prospectus. And we'll go pitch to some wealthy Saudi businessmen,
Yeah,
see if we
we
can
can do that.
fund it, get started.
Yes. And speaking of wrapping up, should we wrap up this week's episode of the One Trick Power Hour?
I think we may have gone ridiculous now, so it's probably time.
Well, speaking of ridiculous, have you heard that there's going to be a Spaceballs sequel? Speaking of light speed, ridiculous, was it ridiculous speed? Ludicrous speed was the
Ludicrous speed,
high one.
yes.
Was there a ridiculous speed? I think ridiculous was the
I think maybe on the dial, I think they may have passed through it on their way to ludicrous speed
yeah,
after light speed, and yeah,
yeah. But
yes.
supposedly Mel Brooks, who I believe is 97 or 98, will be in it. But it doesn't come out until 2027, so it's 2 years. I don't know if he'll be alive. That he's almost as old as Yoda or Yogurt in the movie.
Yes.
Um, so
Now
Rick,
that was not one of your favorite
it was not. It's
stories.
not. No, I
Not
think
any
it's
of your favorite Mel Brooks movies.
no. It's
So,
down on the list.
well, it was one of mine though. So
It was one of yours.
I have that's Spaceballs is a special place in my heart.
I know it was you like this more than I did. I was more of a well, Men in Tights. I like better. I'm also one of the few supporters of which I think is his last original movie was Dracula Dead and Loving It because all of his the rest of his stuff has been revive the producers had a movie and a revival Young Frank like, there's been revivals of his older stuff but he hasn't had any new things come out in years but I guess of course he's like almost 100 years old now so uh
Right.
yeah he's still alive and still he's ticking. Hopefully keep producing new things. I actually saw for the first time recently for the whole thing. Maybe I saw it when I was a kid. The History of the World Part One. Have you seen History of the World Part One?
I don't think I've actually seen the movie. They made a
They
series
made a
pretty recently.
series, History of the World Part Two. History of the World Part One wasn't that good.
Yeah.
It had a few moments in certain scenes, but then it
Yeah.
got pretty bad. So it was
This was I thought was okay anyway. I found humor in it at least anyway. So
in Spaceballs.
no, the History of the World Part
Oh, the series. I
Two
didn't see the series. Yeah.
series.
I saw the series I think was done by different people though. I don't think it was Mel Brooks. I think it was
Inspired by Mel Brooks. I think he had something to do with it, but he didn't like.
I think Nick Kroll was involved in it, right?
Well, I think some of the episodes were sort of split up, like where they were like sort of segmented anyway. So
Yeah.
like I think sketches were performed by different groups of people. So it wasn't like one cast that did like the whole series. It was like
Yeah.
there were different sketches and different parts of history that were done by different groups of comedians. And yeah, it's just I mean it's just silliness. But I mean somebody like sort of put together the whole arc, but the individual like episodes and sketches were kind of different actors, different writers, I think too.
Yeah.
But it was in the same sort of Mel Brooks style of humor,
Yes.
you know.
And I think Mel Brooks
Well,
is he's very hit. I think even in his best movies, he's hit and miss, I think, on a lot of his gags. Um,
sure,
but um,
yeah. But so which reboot sequel? After a long hiatus, are you more interested in seeing the Police Squad Naked Gun reboot with not reboot but continuation revival, I guess, with Liam Neeson, or this new? Spaceballs sequel many years ago. Actually, there's also going to be Happy Gilmore 2 coming out too.
I heard about
But of
that as
those
well.
three, Mike, what are you most interested in? What are you least interested in of those three?
Most interested in Naked Gun, I think. Partly because I like the movie Naked Gun better than either Happy Gilmore or Spaceballs. It's had more of an impact on me personally, I believe. And I like the sequels already to the Naked Gun. I like both 2.5 and 33 and a third. I thought were both pretty good. Um,
Yeah.
and I also like the connection between Leslie Nielsen and Liam Neeson. They're similar names. I don't
And
know.
sort of like acting histories too are similar, right? More like serious roles early, becoming goofy in their like
Yeah,
later careers.
yeah. I think in some ways, probably the modern Leslie Nielsen, I would say, is Alec Baldwin, because he has a similar kind of deadpan delivery, but he was dramatic, but now he is comedic almost always. Even
Yeah.
if he is dramatic, like he was in somewhat recently, the not that recently now, probably 15 years ago now, I mean 20 years ago almost now, was when he was in The Aviator. I couldn't take him seriously in The Aviator because I still saw him. He was Juan Trippi, the president of Pan Am. I still saw him as Jack Donaghy. Uh, uh, uh,
Yes.
and but he's got that, I guess he shot the guy, so maybe he's not going to be in a lot of with a lady. He's not going to be in a lot of stuff for a while. But I think of him as a Leslie Nielsen type. So I don't know if um, I don't know if Liam Neeson will pull it off or not. But that movie also comes out in August. I think it's the first of
Right.
August.
It's the newest. It will reach us the earliest.
So I'll watch. I think I'll probably go see that at the theater. I don't know if I'll go see Happy Gilmore 2 in the theater. I would probably also go. It's in 2 years though. See um, the Schwartz Awakens or whatever it's going to be called. Uh,
I hope that's what they call it. Is that? Did you see that?
I
Is that a
saw it as one
name?
of I saw they mentioned that title as a revival. Rick Moranis
I saw
he's
a
going to be.
headline and I just assumed it was fake. I don't know why. It's just that you said something about Spaceballs too, and I was like, that can't be real, and it's dismissed it. So I am surprised that you brought it up today. That's funny.
Yeah. Well, Rick Moranis is going to be in it. Apparently, he has. I didn't realize he hasn't been in a movie really since the 90s. Uh,
Yeah, I
um,
don't remember him being in anything though. What? No,
and
I don't know. I can't think of
I'm
anything
reading
he's
his
been
Wikipedia article. In 1997, Moranis began a long break from acting to dedicate his time to his two children as a widower. So I guess his wife died in
in.
1991. Um, um, so Yeah, he was in. So basically, the only stuff he's been in has have been voiceover uh,
Hmm.
since the Honey We Shrunk Ourselves direct to video release of 1997. He's been in a couple uh, Brother Bear remakes, Brother Bear, Brother Bear 2 as a voice, and
Don't know what that is.
it
No,
was a Disney movie, Brother Bear. He was a Native American who turned into a bear, like reincarnated or something. Um,
never heard of it.
I saw with Marie once. But he's going to be dark. He's going to reprise his role as Dark Helmet, um, who was pretty good, I think. As Dark. But yeah, it was. Yeah, I was underwhelmed mostly by Spaceballs. I thought it was somewhat funny, but there were parts of it that are funny. But they're also going to be without Barf. John Candy, of course, has died.
Right.
Lone Star, aka Bill Pullman, will be back in it.
And so he's reprising his role as well.
Yeah, and of course, Pizza the Hut will not be able to be in it because I believe that was Dom DeLuise who played Pizza the Hut. Uh,
Well, and he did die in the
he ate
Pizza the Hut.
himself, right?
He did become locked in his limousine and ate himself to death.
Yes. Um,
But we are getting closer to Spaceballs era because I think Rocky 5000 is going to be coming out sometime soon.
yes. Um,
55.
And I guess
Alice.
Joan Rivers has also died. Uh,
Yes. Dot Matrix will probably not be there or be played by someone else.
Dick Van Patten has also died as the king
Right.
of Druidia. Um,
Yes. Do you
Jim J.
remember the
Jim J.
combination?
Bullock, Prince Valium, has also died. Wait, no, he's
Oh,
alive still. Jim J. Bullock's still alive. I guess I thought he had died. He hasn't been anything in like 40
wow.
years. I guess he was in a Glee episode in 2015, but
Hmm.
he's been,
Hmm.
yeah. But
I fear we've gotten sidetracked again. Like,
yes. Well, the thing is that means it's time to end this week's episode of the Wartrade Power. We will, of course, have come this August, I believe, we will definitely both go to the Naked Gun. Um, what are they calling it? Naked Gun
I don't know what they're. Well, I haven't
4?
seen. It's just four and a quarter, 44 and a quarter, 444 and a quarter, something like that is what it probably should be, right?
It's simply called the Naked Gun.
Naked Gun.
The Naked Gun. Uh, with Liam Neeson as Lieutenant Frank Drebin Jr. Pamela Anderson is in it. Paul Walter
Hmm.
Hauser is in it, aka he was Jeff Gillooly in the I, Tonya movie. Also, he was Richard Jewell in the Richard Jewell movie. Um,
Yes.
he plays a good dumb guy, Paul Walter Hauser. Uh, Kevin Durand, no relation to Kevin Durant, is uh,
Not, turns
in
out
it.
it's not the same person.
No, Kevin Durand is he was in Lost. If you saw, did you watch Lost? He was one of the
Yeah.
characters in Lost. He
Yeah, I
was
think
Mark.
he's in like a lot of sort of sci-fi-esque
Yeah,
films.
yeah. I don't. It doesn't seem like there are a lot of people that are in it that are. Um, it's not written by.
Special wrestler Cody Rhodes apparently is in it. Like,
Oh boy, is he Dusty Rhodes's
I think so.
son? Okay, Cody Rhodes. Yeah. So I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Danny Houston. He's a decent actor. John Angelica Houston's brother. But yeah, I'm not really. Now I look at the cast. I'm not as excited about it as I was. I did see the Mission Impossible movie a couple days ago, and I saw
Um,
something else where I saw it was a naked. They had a Naked Gun preview. Um,
hmm.
maybe it was something. It
I
was
kind
a.
of avoided even seeing the preview. I'm afraid. I don't have high hopes for it.
I know I don't really either. But it's the one I'm still most interested in. Happy Gilmore, and I know Adam Sandler's movies have gone mostly downhill since his
Well, they're
90s heyday.
probably just going to do the same jokes they did for the first one, which will be like, you know, it's just going to seem like a retread,
Well, if
which
Shooter McGavin makes a comeback, Christopher McDonald, I think it could be pretty good because he's uh, a good villain.
but yeah, there are a lot of actors from that movie that I think have passed too.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with waiting like 30 years between a movie and making its sequel.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
or longer for some of these other movies. So
Well, we won't wait 30 years before our next episode. We'll only wait a few days before our next
yeah,
episode, the Wonder Power Hour, comes out. So be on the lookout for that early next week. This weekend, of course, we want you to be listening to this episode, but be on the lookout next week for next week's episode because I'm going to be out of the country much of next week, so into the week after. So we'll probably have a little bit of timing differences from normal when our episodes are released, but be
we'll get back to normal
we'll
eventually.
get back to normal eventually. And but this is the summer, so bear with us here at the Power Hour. We thank you for your listenership, your patronage, your viewership, your support, and we here at the Power Hour. are very grateful for all that. And as always, I'm Dr. Michael Werman. He is Dr. Andrew Scaff. We are the One Track Power Hour. Please like and or subscribe to our YouTube channel and or our podcast, which is available on many different podcast delivery platforms. And we wish you the best of luck if you're making bets this weekend on the NHL or NBA finals or on Major League Baseball. We aren't really going to be making any bets. I guess the US Open is also coming up, so you could always make a bet on golf that's going to be in Pittsburgh at Oakmont, one of these celebrated courses in golf history.
I think it's already started, actually, Mike. So you're probably not going to be making bets right now.
Oh no, can't be. I guess you can. I guess you can make bets with just the odds at this point, probably.
Yes, or maybe some of our listeners and viewers have already placed their bets,
Yeah,
and
they
maybe they're
already
checking
have.
to see how make sure that their interests do not
Yes.
conflict with ours. And we don't care, so we're not betting on golf.
Yeah, we aren't betting on golf.
I'm
Right
not anyway. Maybe you are.
now, JJ Spawn is the leader right now at 4 under, followed by Thurston Lawrence, Siwoo Kim, and then Brooks Koepka is tied for third. So we have two South Koreans, two Americans, and a South African in the top five right now.
So I think if you had taken the field odds against Scotty Scheffler, I believe was the favorite, you're in good shape, I think, so far.
Scheffler is
I believe he had the by far, I think, the shortest odds.
Scheffler is plus three, three over par. He's tied for 49th right now. He's seven
Yeah,
shots off the leader
if it
after
was
one.
Scheffler versus the field and you took the field, you're in good shape
Yes, I would take
as
the
of now.
as of now for sure. Yeah. Still early, still anyone's game. But anyway, so we don't have a dog in the fight, so you will not conflict your interest will not conflict with ours this week. So feel free to bet as you please because you will not you will not be frowned at or receive any reproach from Dr. Scaff or me this week. So feel free to um, support whichever team or player you desire without any repercussions or bad karma or mojo or hoodoo, voodoo, whatever you might want to call it. But we'll be back early next week here at the Power Hour with an exciting brand new episode full of hard-hitting, hair-splitting analysis. And we'll talk more Royals. We'll talk, Chiefs if there's any news, more NFL news if there's any news. We'll talk more, of course, about the playoffs in the NHL and the NBA and anything that strikes our fancy, including diverse topics such as the ones we discussed today, the world of sports franchises, religious leaders, and movies that have not yet come out and might not come out for another 2 years. So we're always really on the cutting edge here at the Power Hour. So we appreciate your patronage and we wish you a good weekend. And even more importantly, we wish you a good day.